Dude, thanks for hanging out on the podcast. I've been a huge fan. I still have Crush on Vinyl that I listen to every once in a while. Big Lettuce head for a long time.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. And thank you for having me.
Anybody who doesn't know you?
Shmeeans. Like, you got a means what you shmeans.
Means what you shmeans.
Yeah, Adam Smirnoff.
Yes. Saw you guys for the first time, I think, in 2015 in Indianapolis at the Vogue.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Lettuce has been going at it since like 92?
Well, we met at a 5-week program for students, essentially, when we were like 16. In 92. We weren't really a band then. We started playing together, and, eventually we came back to school as, students. And, we had a lot of different dreams, and Lettuce was one of the many things that we did. And, we've just been chopping away at this tree for years and years and years. And, we're just, we're still doing it. And we're lucky to be in a group with really incredible friends and supportive other musicians, which is, one of the things I would say. If you're going to surround yourself with other musicians, you should have a foundation of love and friendship and respect.
Yeah. Well, it definitely shows through your music, and you guys have collaborated with a lot of people over the years, different bands, different musicians, orchestras, even.
Orchestras, Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang.
Chaka Khan, John Scofield.
Yeah.
Fred Wesley, the JB Horns. The list goes on and on and on.
It's a fat list.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to have you on the podcast once again. I know that you are also an Ableton Live user.
I am.
Part of the Ableton family. So I know you've got some really dope stuff to share with today. And also, you've been playing with Live 12 for a little bit, right?
Yeah, you know what? Not that much. Honestly, I downloaded it for this interview.
Okay.
I've been using 11 this
Sick.
whole time, and I went away for the holidays and stuff. But I got it now, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the new features. I already can see that you have the ability to detect keys on this, which already looks pretty cool. And some of the views and controls have been streamlined, and that you could flip through things a little bit easier, like finding drum sounds and locking others. That looks pretty cool to me.
Yeah, there's some wild workflow enhancements in 12. I actually went through a lot of them in the last podcast episode.
Cool.
With Brian Funk. I'd be definitely curious to learn like your workflow. I'm sure you got a lot of tips and tricks and hacks for people when it comes to just using Ableton in general. And
yeah, I think I'm a pretty basic user.
But sometimes that's all you need. I mean, you don't need to know all the fancy things to make great music.
No, not necessarily.
The new track Vibe, it lives up to its name. It's a great track. I was listening to it yesterday.
Thank you. You know what? That's not the latest. That is something that we put out a couple years ago, actually, and it strictly came out on vinyl.
Oh,
what we've done recently is we released it digitally.
Oh, gotcha.
But before that, you could only hear it on vinyl. That's something that we've been experimenting with releases and how to put stuff out into the world, in the new world of, digital music. And we're lucky enough to have an incredible fan base. First of all, thank you all the Lettuce people out there who are willing to buy our records still and, support us and, come to our shows. We love you guys. But yeah, the Unify was the last record, full record that we put out. And
that's also good, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, go check that out. And then we have a lot of new stuff in the works that we're going to be releasing throughout 2024. One of the things that we do as a band is improvise together, which is a little different than like, let's solo over some changes. This is more band improvisation.
Yeah.
Where we really feed off of each other's direction with I'd say more of a hip hop foundation and, a funk hip hop foundation. It's kind of like live writing, live producing on the spot. That's what Vibe is. Vibe is, we already sat down and did every structured piece where we have the demos for them or the ideas kind of in stone of this is how it's going to go. And then this is the antithesis of that. Go in there without an idea and do your band improvisation that we do live at our shows and don't have to be limited to it's going to be in a 4 to 5 minute song. Let's just go. Let's go how we do it live, because, we might at a show vamp on an idea for 10, 15 minutes sometimes when it's really flowing. And, that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
And, sometimes for that particular album vibe, there's probably some psychedelic elements within that recording session itself.
Yeah, I imagine.
At the end, hey.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some parts in there I felt like I was tripping in a good way. I was like,
Well, you weren't the only one.
Yeah. My other question is, like, knowing that, there's like 6 of you guys, right? So as the core, all of you having like different writing backgrounds, different styles blending together. What does the songwriting process look like? And I'm sure it changes. I'm sure it's not always the same, but as far as like coming together with an album, like
I wish he was here, because Adam Deitch is really, really one of the most prolific writers that I've ever met. His creativity level is inspiring to the world, and especially me. I've been around him for so long, and I've learned so much. And
it's cool. Yeah, I was hoping he'd be here. Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's not. He's a little under the weather right now.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I would probably say the main source of writing for us is to make a demo, to come with an idea and present it to the group, which leads us to the whole Ableton thing.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I think, if I'm going to give any kind of I hate the word advice. If I'm going to drop any knowledge that I've learned through the years, is that if you want people to be excited about recording a song, make the demo sound good, because then it's kind of undeniable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's really great at doing that. All of his demos sound so incredible.
Cool.
And everyone in the band is great at that. Zoidis is great at that. Jesus is great at that. And, and as far as like writing style, I just feel like everyone wants to put people in categories of like, you're this or you're this. And I think you could be all of those elements, or, be influenced by everything you've ever heard in life. And hopefully, maybe one day they'll look back and people will be like, oh, that's kind of some Lettuce type stuff. Because that's what I'd rather them say than, than them throw me in like, or the band and like, oh, they're hip hop, they're funk, they're psychedelia. I don't know. It's
like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? So if you are the one being imitated, then that's the best place to be, right?
That would be an incredible thing. So yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, there are also other ways. Sometimes you'll write something on the spot. Maybe it's not a finished idea and people add to it. Maybe you created a demo at home and one of your friends or bandmates came over and ended up playing on it. Maybe you didn't see each other. Maybe you ended up recording the demo and you said, hey, I don't have a B section or a bridge, and I'm going to send it to you. Here's a blank spot in the demo. Or, I put some bass and some keys on this, and maybe you want like, oh, cool, man, at their home, they have their recording set up and they're going to record drums and send it back, or they're going to record bass and send it back. They're going to record keys and send it back. And then all of a sudden you have a collaborative demo, and that's another way. So, but that's what I want to focus on today. That's because that's how I use live.
Sure.
Let's
go.
All right, let's go. Here's an example right now.
By the way, anybody listening, if you want to see the video, this will be on Spotify and YouTube. So pro tip, just go there and watch this. If you want.
Great. This is one of our demos. This is a song that became Shine on the Unify record. And I'll just let it rip. Here we go.
hot. I like this.
All right, you get the basic idea of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And for this, I used a drum break loop. There's a sample in there that was part of the inspiration of writing this song. I like sample-based music a lot.
Me too.
And I think on this, I'm actually using the you got the simpler. Is that right?
Yeah, it's simpler.
Simpler.
Actually, can you do me a quick favor?
Yeah.
Can you hit Command comma?
Command comma. Okay. Yep. Command.
That'll bring up preferences, and then go to display at the top. Display and input on the left tab. Okay. Yeah, maybe change the zoom to like 120. That makes it way easier for people to see online.
I think it changed to that when I connected to your HDMI. That's normally how I have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really small for me too.
All the visually impaired people like myself.
And myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep having to take on and off my glasses to do stuff. So, I'm just going to flip it right now to this. I'll go to the YouTube page where you can see us recording this song now, and how it translated to all live instruments. Here's that intro again. That was originally the sample.
I love this song, by the way. It's a great track.
What feel like Jesus and Deitch have drum and bass. The way they flow is just crazy.
It's loose but tight at the same time. It's like,
and there's that horn line that was originally on.
Yep.
Keyboard horns.
Yeah, man, real horns win every time. It's hard to represent that in a plugin.
Yeah, but some of them do a pretty good job.
There's some good ones.
On some of the demos, I've had people ask me, like, is that real horns?
Yeah.
Even horn players.
There's some good ones, but I don't know. There's just something about it.
I hear you. Nigel is just all feel. The way he translated that sample was just so incredible.
It's a nice Rhodes.
That keyboard setup of his. Woo!
That's a nice, yeah, for real.
Yes.
Is that a Leslie? It's got a Leslie there too?
Of course.
Where did you guys record this?
Colorado Sound Studios.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So there you go. You know what I mean? There's an example of one way to use Ableton Live to make a demo that you can give to your friends, and
it's cool to see how it translates out of just like this rough idea into something where you have almost completely all live instrumentals happening.
Yeah.
So, and you were using for the previous demo horns, you were using contact.
I was using contact session horns.
Session horns.
Yes, exactly.
I've used their strings too before.
I think the strings might be on this too. Let's move on. I'm gonna bring up this demo right here. This is something that Deitch and I and Nigel recently worked on collaboratively, where we sent it back and forth to each other.
Are you guys staying in the same project, or are you stemming stuff out most of the time?
Stemming stuff out. Yeah. Not even. Like I'll do a mix and I'll send him it without the drums and give him the tempo, and then he'll record the drums.
Got it.
And then send just the drums back to me. And then I put it in here and, I'm putting it through all kinds of
multiple drum buses.
I have a trash track too, right? Through the supercharger, through two different drum buses,
I forgot about supercharger. That's a Native Instruments thing, isn't it?
I don't even know what half my stuff is. Sometimes I just experiment.
Yeah.
And, And then that's mixed EQ with a clean version of the drums as well.
I mean, it makes sense if you're just looking for like one track of an instrument, then why not just like send a mix muting that one instrument, right? And then just have them send it back.
And one of the great things that I've learned from some really good engineers is using the trash track. You know what I mean? Having like having that sound of the really nice clean drums with the dirty drums, and then finding the balance of
Layering
that
them
together.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and Nigel sent keys back to me on this. I'm playing bass and guitar on this track, and this incredible horn player Nate Miller here in Denver played on this demo right now. And
okay, sick.
you know, there's a reason I'm playing this, and I'll explain in a second.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Okay, Nate.
Let's go.
Okay, so maybe
like
this
that.
will eventually become a lettuce track. I sure hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so. But the reason that I'm playing it is I need to show what I sent to Deitch, because you know you want people to be excited about your tune, and sometimes the only way to do that is to have, you know, maybe not exactly what you were looking for, but something close to it. And so I have a drum kit at my crib, and I'm able to record a little bit. And I don't know if it's on here, but I am a terrible drummer. I mean, I'm awful, but
You're a sick guitarist.
it don't matter. I'm saying that I'm using Ableton Live to make me sound like a decent drummer. Decent. It's almost a trick, but this is why I loved initially getting this when it came out, because to me it was the first DAW a while back that the time stretching abilities were just on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Versus what was out at the time. And to me, the idea that I could record something slower and then speed it up,
Right.
was just an amazing concept for me, without it being like, you know, I used to record stuff and speed it up and it would be an octave higher or something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, but this was, I'm keeping the same pitch. And that was mind blowing to me initially. If I find a groove, what are we at here? This tempo here? I'm at 100. So I can remember that. I was able to find a groove for this tune initially and play it on the drums. Probably I played it a lot before I could find a good loop.
Yeah.
Loop it, I don't remember if I might have used live audio quantize, which is another thing that you guys have on this to me, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Or the ability to even just go in there and move stuff around physically, whether you're using that or not, and get it to sit in the right place. So here you go. That's me playing drums, right?
Rocking some drums. Yeah.
And that's the same track. You know, I wanted them to hear it like, okay.
Nice. How fast did you originally record that at?
That is the question at hand. But it was definitely more like, it was probably this.
It sounds pretty good sped up. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Typically, especially with lower frequencies, it's way easier to get away with speeding it up than slowing down.
Hey, yeah, you know what I mean? So, and you don't have to be like a virtuoso on every instrument in order to put an idea down.
Yeah.
And so you can approach audio more like creating a MIDI track, because I've always been able to do that with MIDI. Like, oh, I'm not a great keyboard player either, but let me play this slowly, and now I could speed it back up. And there's the idea for a real keyboard player.
Yeah.
And I could do that on bass, and I could do that on guitar.
That's really
too.
smart. I've done that on, yeah, you could just shred guitar. We know that. No, when I play, I've done that with guitar though, because I'm a drummer, so I could play drums all day. But when I play guitar, I couldn't even play hot cross buns that well if I tried. So I've done that trick. That's really smart, even for people listening, is slowing stuff down, record it, and then just put it back to the original BPM, speed it back up.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
good.
And you know, it's one of the fun aspects of Ableton, that it does it so well and so easily, you know?
Yeah. And that's, like I said earlier, it's typically will sound a lot better, especially with mid-range or lower frequencies, to speed up than to slow down.
Yeah. And you know what? I know that when I'm doing it anyway, it's not the final product for me.
It's a good demo.
It's a good demo.
Yeah.
And it's a way for me to more just translate an idea, which I think is the more important piece for this.
Yeah, makes sense.
And here, let's open another one. Now, I was trying to search all day. Originally, Deitch and I played this. This was, I told you I just got this, so now it's asking me, do I want it?
Oh, dude, that's the struggle. When you have beta, now every project you open,
I
double
have
click,
to save it
beta.
as another one. Here, don't save. How about that? It's still on there, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. It's okay.
It's a good demo, man. We're getting the exclusive release premiere of these new track ideas.
Well, two of them are on albums already. That's the only one that's unheard so far. So here's something else. This is Deitch and I, just guitar and drums, and we're at a sound check, and we make something up on the spot. Here's another writing method. We recorded that. We put it on Instagram, and it got a lot of feedback from other people. So then on the bus in Europe, sitting in the lounge as a band, we just started recording it and put that idea back. Tried to kind of do it from memory, to be honest. So it's interesting. The demo, when you listen to it on the phone, is in a different key. Because I don't think we remembered what key we initially did it in.
Yeah.
So I ended up moving it. So there's not that consistency of that. But the demo of this and what's ended up on the record is the same. And so. Little inflection differences and how things were played. It's not exact.
No, I like it though.
Yeah. Oh.
I like that.
Where'd the drums go?
It says plugin is missing at the bottom.
Oh.
Might have a missing plugin.
I thought, you know what, I already went through. You know what? Hold on. There it is.
Yeah, dude, that infamous orange bar at the bottom we've all seen.
There it is, the infamous orange bar.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's happened to all of us.
This is what happens
sometimes is a good reminder.
When you're using drums from an older Contact.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about Contact, man. The libraries, anytime I'm going one computer to another, it's like a gamble.
But you know what? I did this. I opened this up right before I came here, and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh man, what am I going to do?" But you know what? The drums in Ableton are killing.
Yeah,
and I
there's
literally
some good packs.
I found a pack in 3 seconds.
Did you? Which one was it? Do you know?
Well, yeah, I do, because I can click on it, and I picked the Blueprint kit.
Oh, that's a new. I haven't played with that.
So let's hear how that sounds. This is, you know. Either way, the job is done with this demo.
Yeah, nice.
Luckily.
Good.
There are those contact horns again.
They're not bad.
I see they sound pretty good,
It's really
man.
not too bad. I like that snare.
It was, you know, I think the stock sounds that come on live are just pretty, man. They're pretty good, bro.
You think so?
I do think so.
I know a lot of people that say otherwise.
Well,
But I think the gold is in the packs for me.
yeah, maybe this isn't a pack, and I don't even know because I just load stuff and
Yeah.
I forget.
There's some little gold nuggets in there. You got to dig, but there's some really good ones if you find them. Yeah. I like this. It definitely has the lettuce consistent vibe.
Yeah, and you know, that became this.
I like that dissonant guitar sound. It's like, yeah,
I think I used the Fender Jazz Master to record this one.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite guitar?
Probably my Les Paul.
Yeah.
And my 1974 Strat that I've had since I was like 18, 19.
I recently picked up a 2020, I think it's a 2020 or 2019 Telecaster, American Tele, for $400.
Woo! Can't beat that.
I know. I was pretty happy about that. Some poor guy on Facebook Marketplace didn't know what he had.
So, you know, there's another example of how using live on a tour bus in Europe in the middle of the night after a show, and you know, and we were able to create something from an idea from the past, and then that got translated into us playing it live in the studio. And you know, that's how a lot of our stuff gets done. It's not like the 100% rule of how stuff has to get done, but it's most of the time. And you know, the demos that Adam brings, I wish he was here because he's a great producer. He's got his own side projects and stuff he's doing too. Unstoppable musically. He's a musical force, and anyone who's around him, you know, it's contagious.
Yeah,
it's contagious, and he's just such a pleasure, and he just loves music so much. And it, you know, you can really feel it within our group too, because you know, the drums are the heart. You know, you can't have a funk band without a great drummer. It's not going to be funky. So,
or guitar or bass.
Well, I don't know. Drums, I would say.
Definitely drums, but you know, that funky guitar, little wall in there or something.
But things can be funky without guitar. Things can't be funky without drums.
That's true. That's true.
Put
that on a gold plaque. Just like put it on my wall above my drum set.
You know, but I think one of the great parts about each member of Lettuce is that we approach our instruments very rhythmically and think about how everything fits together in a pocket and has an understanding of what it is to play in the middle, play behind, play ahead, to give different feels and of different genres and things of that nature.
Yeah. Well, that's the mark of a good musician too, I think, you know, and I grew up playing in jazz bands growing up, and that was one thing I was always taught was like creating space, you know, and it's like a lot of times stuff is going to shine and be more dynamic if you leave room for it to be that way, you know, and not overplaying, which I know a lot of great musicians that just overplay rather than thinking through how can I complement what's already happening here in this song, in this jam, whatever. Yeah, and you guys do an amazing job of that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like my own personal limitations as a musician kind of add to that, which is turning a negative into a positive, you know, because I can't play a million miles an hour, but I will try as hard as I can to make good musical decisions.
Yeah, I think that's the mark of a good musician is to know when to play and how to play it. You know?
Well, there's people who can play a million miles an hour and make good decisions, and I try and practice, and you know, I think that's one of the goals, is to just always keep improving as a musician and also keep improving as a songwriter or as a producer or as an engineer, and I think, you know, you have to wear many hats nowadays, and luckily we can sit at home now and have a laptop and do this because I'm old enough that this didn't used to be possible in my lifetime, you know?
Yeah, that's got to be pretty wild, seeing like all that change and everything and advancing. And like, that's something I think I take for granted, and a lot of people do, of just like how accessible music is. You can make an entire track that could hit a Grammy in a coffee shop if you wanted to.
In a coffee shop and load it up and have it on every digital platform in you know, in a second.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, man. And it's something that it's like one of those things you just get used to because times are changing and technology is changing so fast.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool to think about. So, you mentioned packs. Do you have any other favorite packs back to Ableton stuff? I'm just curious.
If I do, you know what? I think I've been given access, or I've bought packs, and just because they look cool, and I load them up, and then I'm pretty disorganized sometimes when it comes to doing this versus a lot of people, and you know, I just search, and you know, I'll sit there going through every snare sound.
Yeah,
annoying my wife. What is he doing? Hi-hat. Oh, that one sounds good. Nope, that's wrong. You know,
the doom scrolling of snares.
It's the doom scrolling of trying to find good sounds.
Yeah,
and,
that's the demise of
and
many of us.
I'll loop something forever until another idea comes and frustrate my wife again, being like, why don't you, you know, write a bridge? I'm like, I'm not there yet. She's so supportive and awesome. I love you, Leah.
That's great.
There it is.
That's all. You got to have that, man. With a situation like yours too, you're on the road all the time. I mean, you guys are constantly, it seems like, traveling or playing shows, and I'm sure that can be difficult too. You know, in the personal life, maybe sometimes.
You know, I think at this point in time, we have a really, really great balance, to be honest.
That's good.
When I'm home and when I'm not, and, you know, finding a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that could be potentially really hard when you're gone all the time. You know, I did a little bit of playback engineering, so I was like touring, doing stage tech and stuff. And it's like, when you're gone traveling that much, it's hard to keep up with like friendships and family back home.
Yeah.
You know, when you're always gone.
I have 2 kids, and keeping up with friendships is like impossible for me. It's like I'm on the road or I'm home, and I'm dealing. What is going on with this little?
I'm not sure.
Blip.
That's kinda...
It's so strange. I've never experienced this before.
We broke the internet.
Yeah, or we broke my display or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's how I use Ableton Live, and I thank you guys so much for having an incredible, as I said, having this tool to use for creation, sitting in your house, coming up with ideas, to me is something really special.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Ableton, amazing company. They're always like innovating. Going back to what you were saying a second ago, as far as like doom scrolling snare samples, I don't know if you're aware, but we talked about this in the last episode about similar sounds. So if you like go to like the samples tab, if you right click on a sample in the samples folder in the browser, there's a new option called show similar files.
Yeah.
It'll just display and populate all the sounds that are very similar to that sound. So sonically, like if you want a kick drum and you're like, it's not the right kick, but I want a bunch of kicks that are just like this kick.
Okay, so here, an 808 just came up, right?
Yeah, so if you right click on that, and then go to show similar files.
Show similar.
Now these should sonically sound similar somehow.
Yeah, oh yeah. Look at that.
And that's a great way to find stuff now in 12.
Doom scroll.
Yeah. But then you can just quickly save that in the browser. Now you've got like all these different filtering options and tagging.
Great.
So it's a great way to find stuff quicker.
I love that.
Yeah, me too, man.
Awesome.
It's a nice pro tip. Any other like plugins or instruments that are just kind of your go-to? When we talked about Contact, we looked at the super old supercharger from Native Instruments I haven't seen in many years.
I love the Arturia keys. Those are great. Generally, because I'm in a horn band, the session horns are a go-to for me. A lot of the time, I'll pull up, classic break loops that I have from like older funk tunes. I have a whole folder of that. I also have like a folder of some Deitch breaks as well.
That's cool.
And that'll be drums a lot for me, unless I'm doing more of like a sample-based kind of thing where I might find just a kit and use that. Sometimes I really enjoy using the feature on this where it's like taking a melody and converting it to MIDI, because I play live instruments a lot. So I might record a bass line on my P bass. I might record a guitar line on my guitar line. You could turn a chord into a MIDI as well. So I might take one line that I've played and convert it to a melody, and then put strings on that, or put horns on that, and put a synth on that, and just keep going through it and stacking them. So I love that feature as well on this, converting audio to MIDI essentially, which is just, to me, also something incredible.
Oh, it is, especially for drums. Like you were saying, you didn't say you're a big drummer person, but you could find a great drum loop and then convert those drums.
Convert it. That's right. I do that too. And sometimes I'll take like the drum loop that Adam gave me, and I'll convert that to something else, and I'll play it from him. He'll be like, "Where'd you get these drums?" And I'll be like, "Oh, dude, it's you."
He's like, "I knew it sounded good."
Yeah, I knew it sounded good.
That's hilarious. Well, I mean, you mentioned having a big archive of loops and samples from Lettuce stuff. I mean, maybe someday there could be a Lettuce sample pack or something. That would be
I think
cool.
that would be great. That would be incredible.
That would be amazing.
You get all the instruments from us. You get the bass, you get the horns, you get the keys, you get the drums.
You already have it. It's all there.
It is all there. We have a lot of the files from our stuff. Hey, get in touch.
Hit him up, Splice.
Yeah, hit me up, Splice.
Yeah, give him some money. Yeah. Well, I want to respect your time. I did have a couple quick questions.
Sure.
Like any specific memorable moments that stand out on tour or performing over the last few years that were just either funny or like challenging or whatever?
I mean, there are so many. We've been touring for so long. To me, some of the funny parts are like pushback that end up being like, afterwards we look back and we're like, man, that was the greatest thing ever. I can't believe we didn't want to do that.
Really?
Yeah. And
like shows that surprisingly were better than you expected, or
like a collaboration, or a recording session, or whatever. It's just interesting to be with in a musical relationship with a group of people who all have incredible musical opinions that are all valid. And working through that and respecting everyone, is very important.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to have some people who are on this side and some people who are on this side. And hopefully you're able to come to some sort of compromise and get through it. And then at the end, look back and be like, man, I'm so glad that happened, because that ended up being great for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously some of our memories of playing with our heroes and our Blue Note shows that we did with all the guests, and the whole musical hero thing for us, and getting to play with a lot of those people have been really special. And funny is 24 hours a day with Erick Bloom on the bus. That dude is just a laugh a minute. And
if you had to do a collab with somebody who isn't around anymore from the past, if you could pick anybody, who would it be?
James Brown.
James Brown. That's a good answer. Yeah. That's a solid answer.
I mean, the inventor of funk.
Yeah. Makes sense. I feel like he would love you guys.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
I'm sure he would.
Either that or he'd trash us. Either way.
Either way, at least you get to meet him.
Yeah. It would be awesome. Get trashed by James Brown.
Yeah, what an honor.
Have him throw fives at you. Five. You're docked. You missed it. You'd be looking at.
I'm sorry, James.
Looking at the other guys like, you just docked me. Yes.
He knows me. Yeah, man. James Brown, what a legend. What advice would you give to aspiring musicians these days? It's a different time than it was back in the late 90s.
My advice would be, don't take my advice. It's a different world than how I grew up. You got to find your own path. You got to do it your way. Do it so much your way that you surpass our success. And I'm coming to you and asking you for advice of how you did it your way.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. That's good advice. Everybody's path's different, I guess, right?
Yeah. You're never going to be able to follow someone else's path, so don't even try. Just carve your own.
There won't be another Shmeeans, or there won't be another Lettuce. It's only you, right?
Well, there might be musically, but I'm just saying that don't do what we did and don't get into a van and sleep in between the seats of a van and travel for hours to open up for somebody anymore. We're in the digital world where you can get on social media and get bigger before you even have played a show. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I don't have the advice to give you for this new generation, but I have so much respect for anyone out there who's giving it a go, because it's not easy. And, if there's any advice, is just to keep at it and go through your ups and downs that you are meant to go through, and come out the other side stronger.
Yeah, that's good advice, man. Maybe we should end it there.
Sounds good to me.
Good stuff, man. All right. Well, one more question. What's your favorite vegetable?
Leafy greens.
Just any leafy green?
Sure.
That's a good answer, man.
Thank you.
I love that. Yeah, purple cabbage is one of my favorites. So I was stoked when you came out with a song about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another Deitch classic.
Yeah.
There he is.
Sick, man. Well, everybody go stream Lettuce. If you haven't already, then you're extremely missing out. So check out the links in the show notes. Make sure you give this guy a follow. Give Lettuce a follow. Yeah, man. Huge honor having you on the podcast once again. Thanks again for coming out.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Dude, always. Bye, everybody. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Do me a huge favor if you would, and hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you don't hate the podcast, please leave a 5-star review. It would help me out a ton. Don't forget to check back on Tuesdays for new episodes. I plan on cranking out a lot more in the upcoming future. Also, if you didn't know, on Spotify, if you click on an episode on mobile, you can interact there, and you can tell me what you think about this episode and other episodes, and it would be great to hear from you and see what you're thinking about the podcast. If you want to be the first to get new episodes and stay updated and get free new devices and sample packs and other stuff that I'll be sending out in the future, join the newsletter. Just go to liveproducersonline.com/newsletter and or check out the links in the show notes. Make sure to give this guest a follow on the socials. Give them some love for spending their time. And once again, thanks for listening to the podcast. I will see you next time. Later.